Hello, Slicey Dicers. This is Brian with another knife review for you. Today we have the ZT Zero Tolerance 0095TS. As you can probably guess, the TS stands for Tiger Stripe. This is a Sprint Run ZT0095. It is available still in a few different places. It's $240 and it has S90V steel and the Tiger Stripes. That's your major differences between this and then the standard version is $220 with S35VN, and it's just a black stonewash, black wash, whatever you want to call it, all over the whole knife. Also pretty cool looking. You may be saying, wow, surprised you opted for this version. I didn't. This is a loaner from Wes. Thank you very, very much for letting me play with this and review it. Knife I had not experienced before. Glad to get my hands on it. This is kind of an older knife from ZT, not terribly old, but there was a Russian exclusive, if I'm following the history correctly, available before the 0095 came out in the United States, and then in about 2016 they came out with that blackwash version that I mentioned earlier for the US market. The Russian ones are quite sought after because it is kind of a unique knife. Those are more the standard ZT stainless, plain titanium, satin blade kind of look. And then, yes, they came with a black wash, and now they have the Sprint Run. They also had a Sprint Run that was just all black. Those are mostly all gone now. You can't find those, but you can still find these around a little bit. Again, $240, get an S90V, genuine super steel, so that's pretty cool. Let's do some stats on this before we get too much farther. We have an overall length of, we're looking at about, so let me go down here. I didn't write that one down. About 8.5 inches. You have a blade length of 3.6 inches. You have a handle length of 4.9. Blade stock, not terribly thick, 0.12, little hair over 0.12 inches, 0.12 inches. And you have thickness behind the edge, also pretty good for a ZT, 25 thousandths. ZT makes a lot of really slicey blades now, but back in the time this was made, that was a pretty thin little slicey blade for a ZT. You also have a handle thickness of just about 0.48 inches and a weight of 5.3 ounces. So not a lightweight, but not terribly heavy. I don't mind that at all. Let's do some size comparisons here to give you an idea. First of all, we'll start out with the Spyderco Paramilitary 2. It's a little bigger than a PM2, but not dramatically so. It is definitely taller in the pocket than a PM2, though. And speaking of, something that is kind of not quite similar to the pocket close, this is Spyderco Manix 2. As you can see, both of these are pretty tall in your pocket. I think the Manix 2 is quite a bit taller, but yeah, both pretty tall. We'll throw the PM2 there alongside it just to see the height there. And you can see the PM2 has one spot that's a little higher, but overall in the width, the PM2 is a little narrower. I know this feels a little smaller in the pocket than the ZT does. A couple more size comparisons and we'll move on here. We have the Ontario Rat Model 1. The Model 1's a little bit longer. And lastly, but not leastly, the Benchmade 940, since we always use this. It's quite a bit bigger than a 940, as you can see. Now let's talk about this knife individually. I don't actually mind the looks of it. I don't even mind the tiger stripes. I thought I'd hate it, but I'm like, it's not bad actually. It's kind of cool. I don't mind crazy stuff. I just don't like bright colors on a lot of things, and this definitely has no bright colors. This is very blacked out, except these tiger stripes, kind of, old World War II German camouflage looking tiger stripes. I kind of like it. It looks kind of cool. I like the very subdued ZT logo. I like that they did all this in the silver back here, or the just gray back here. It's pretty cool. As you can see, S90V, made in the USA, and very well made in the USA too. Very simple construction. I do really like this design element of it. It's just two screws, two T8s, one up here, one backspacer in the back, and with these big thick titanium slabs, which are not milled out whatsoever. You don't need any more strength than that. This is a very strong, heavy-duty knife, even though it's just got the one standoff in the back. The ZT is kind of standard pocket clip. I like the little wheel spoke pivot. I think I've always thought that looked kind of cool. Yeah, I like there's very subtle milling in here, but very well built, very well designed. It is an attractive knife. No real quality issues except for one thing we'll get to later that I'm not sure if it's a quality issue or just a product of the coating on this blade, but we'll get to that in a minute. Speaking of this blade, again, I said pretty thin blade stock, especially for a ZT. Fairly thin behind the edge, very high flat grind. It does cut pretty well. I mean, it's not a slice and machine or anything like that, but it cuts pretty well. And with this nice harpoon shape, you do have a really good, pretty robust tip on there for piercing and stuff, so that's nice. I do like that it's all this belly. It is a very good shape for cutting and things like that. I do like to have a little bit of flat on my knives, but this looks cool and does work very, very well. Ergonomically, also pretty good. As I said, it's a kind of an average thickness handle. I guess they probably would have called this very thin back when it was designed, but now that's kind of average, just a hair under 5 inches. It's very comfortable, for sure. No hot spots whatsoever, especially with that stock clip. No hot spots whatsoever. You can move up in a nice spot to rest your thumb up here. It works really well for that. And yeah, this is not the grippiest stuff ever. This is just kind of your standard matte sort of finished titanium with a DLC coat on it. And it is, it's, I guess you could call it a bit slippery, but that's not, this knife was designed for the shape of it to hold your hand in place. You don't need a whole ton of grip on it, I don't think. And that nice flipper tab to hold you from going forward. Oh, something that I forgot to mention too. Excellent sharpening choil on this, by the way, guys. Excellent sharpening choil. I didn't mention that. But yeah, I think ergonomically it's pretty darn good, actually. I really do like the ergonomics of it. Carry-wise, it does carry pretty high for sure, and it's pretty wide. You can see how much is going to be sticking out of your pocket up there. That's not a huge deal, I guess, because it is black and there's not a lot of color sticking out, but also not a big deal because it's a ZT, so if you want a deep carry pocket clip, all you gotta do is ask nicely and they're going to send you one. But even on a deep carry, you're going to have a little bit sticking out, but not a whole lot. It is fairly tall in the pocket. I can get my hand by it and stuff to get stuff out of my pocket, but it's not like the easiest thing in the world to do. Luckily, there is nothing sharp here to hit, you know, as you go by, so that's nice. But it is going to take a bit of hand wiggling to, if you have something in the bottom of your pocket you want to get out without taking your knife out. The action. Okay, that's one problem I have with this particular one. Now, I try not to usually watch video reviews of knives before I review them because I don't want to be influenced by them. But this one I had to, because the action on this particular one ain't so grand. It's fine. It comes out all right, but the detent is a bit weak, and I even tore it apart and lubed it up and played with it, and I improved it a lot over what it was. When Wes first gave this to me, it was not good. I've watched enough videos to realize that I think maybe it's either just this one had a weak detent, or I think it also might be the coating on this blade is just providing enough friction that the more I use it, the more it breaks in. So I'm kind of leaning towards it being the coating thing, and this coating just needs to get worn off. If this was my knife, I would tear it apart again and do something to get rid of all that coating and speed up the break-in process, I guess I should say. But I got it working pretty good now. It is not fall shutty, but none of them are. I've never seen that in any other reviews of any of these. They're not meant to be completely fall shut. They're smooth, but it's not a total drop shut thing. Again, this was designed a couple years ago when that wasn't everyone's #1 priority, and now it's so hot right now to have all your knives be completely guillotines. So the action on this one, not outstanding, but I think it's the coating. Could just be a bad detent, but I really think it's the coating. I'm not sure, but again, if it was mine, I'd clean it off, and I bet it would improve it a whole lot. So overall, what do I think of this? It's pretty cool. S90V is a great freaking steel, and it's not the easiest stuff in the world to work with, but it does hold an edge forever. I don't mind the looks of it. The ergonomics are very good. I love the very simple construction. There are a lot of design touches here that I really like. $240 though? Yeah, I don't know about that. This is a new sprint of an older knife, but maybe I'm just thinking because titanium frame locks are like the most popular thing in the world, and they've moved on so much in such a short amount of time. Something about this knife just feels a bit dated to me. I can't put my finger on it or explain it, but And it is. I mean, it came to the U.S. in 2016, but they started making it the year or two before that for the Russian exclusive. So, and a lot of ZT's collaborations and stuff I just think are just cooler. And I think things have just changed over time. There's nothing I really hate about this other than that detent, which again, I think will fix itself in time. But overall, it just feels a bit dated, and for $240, it's not my thing. But if you are especially like a ZT collector, this is a sprint run, you're probably going to want to have it. And it is a very usable, cool knife, definitely. If you're worried about scratching up the DLC on the Tiger Stripe, I don't know about this particular Tiger Stripe, but I have spent a lot of time with ZT and Kershaw, DLC coatings. It's pretty damn tough. I wouldn't worry about it a whole lot. Especially the ZT stuff is really tough. So that's kind of my conclusion. Cool knife, bit dated, probably not my thing, but I could totally see why you'd get one. So I've been Brian. Have a good one.